Hello and welcome to another edition of the First Pitch podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. Thanks so much for joining me here on this one. Lots of baseball to get into as we are nearing the end of the season. Fantasy playoffs for the lucky few, and things are, well, they're probably heating up in those fantasy leagues. So let's jump right in, see what we got going on in the game of baseball from yesterday. We're going to start, of course, with the news. There was an update on Kyle Tucker, and it's not a super good one. Kyle Tucker has been out for a while. There still is not a timetable for him to return to the Cubs lineup. The IL stint could potentially happen. They haven't said one way or another with Kyle Tucker if they're going to put him on the IL, but they don't seem to have a timetable, which means it's likely to happen or liable to happen at least. And if it does, that means Owen Casey's probably coming back up. He was recently sent down in favor of Kevin Alcantara, but without Tucker, you're going to want Casey back up there to fill an outfield spot on the roster. So hopefully Kyle Tucker gets back before the end of the season, but for right now, there is not really any news for when that could be. The Dodgers catching situation is something I've covered extensively this weekend. Will Smith has a bruise on his hand that he's going to have to monitor for the rest of the season. So he's out indefinitely, not on the IL, but he's been out for a little bit. That seemed to clear a path for Dalton Rushing, but Dalton Rushing took a foul ball off of his leg, and he is now on the 10-day IL with a right shin contusion. So Dalton Rushing, who seemed to finally have a path to regular playing time, is not going to get it because he finds himself on the IL. And for the Dodgers, that means Chucky Robinson has come up to join the team, and their catching tandem at this point is Ben Rotford and Chucky Robinson. So Will Smith, hopefully back in the next few days for them. But for right now, it's a little bit of an odd situation. We'll see how much Will Smith can even catch when he comes back. Once again, he's got to monitor that bruise on his hand after taking the foul ball off of it. So not great for their backstop situation. Alex Cobb is getting season-ending hip surgery. He recently signed a contract or not recently, but before the season, he signed a contract with the Detroit Tigers and has not appeared for them outside of maybe some rehab appearances in the minors, and he will not appear for them this year. Once again, season-ending hip surgery, and there was a whole long explanation for the season from him. It seems like this could be the end of his career. He hasn't decided that fully yet, but it's not looking great if you go and read the piece that this was said in. So Alex Cobb, season-ending hip surgery, hopefully not career-ending, but it seems like it might be trending in that direction. Former Reds prospect Christian Roa has been selected by the Marlins. He's had command issues throughout his minor league career and was hurt a lot in the recent years, but he's been in a full-time relief role with the Marlins organization, and he's succeeded pretty well, still with like a 12% walk rate in AAA, but it was a good strikeout rate and a good ERA. So he was pitching well, and he's earned a call-up. He made his MLB debut in yesterday's games, throwing 2 shutout innings for the Marlins and striking out 3 in that time. Not sure what his role actually looks like, but congratulations to Christian Rowe, who has made his MLB debut. It's been a long time coming for, I think he was drafted in the 2020 draft, if I'm not mistaken. So been a while for him working his way up the system. And finally, in news, Cole Reagans is going to be starting a rehab assignment today. Today being Sunday, obviously, the Royals have said that if he does return from his rotator cuff strain, it won't be a quote-unquote full-fledged starting role. So that means a couple of things. One, his rehab assignment may not go that long because they may not need him to build up as much. So it depends on what their innings idea looks like for him and what role they have in mind. If it's not a full-fledged starting role, it might just be following openers, in which case he'd still probably want to be able to throw 5 innings, 4 or 5 innings. But if he's just going to be maybe multi-inning relief as they head down the stretch, they may want him back sooner, and that could mean a shorter rehab assignment. Just depends on what that role is going to look like. But he is starting his rehab, and ideally for the Royals is going to be back before the end of the season. Jumping into some hitting highlights from yesterday's games, Joe Adell smacked his 34th home run of the year. My question is, what do you do with him come draft season next year in fantasy? He's gotten the most at bats of his career. Almost half of his 72 career home runs have come this season. He's got 34 now. He's hitting 243, which is also higher than what he's done at any point in his major league career with regular playing time. He's 26. So is this a breakout? It's hard to tell. And I don't know if you trust him or not as you head into drafts next year. The strikeout rate is still not gone. He's still striking out a lot. That's always going to be part of his game. So I guess it just the risk appetite you have might be indicative of how far you reach for him. But he's certainly having a great year, and hats off to him. 34 home runs for Joe Adell after hitting one in yesterday's game. Julio Rodriguez, I mean, gets scared by a slow start every year. Obviously, he's been on a complete heater. Picked up 4 RBIs, 3 hits in yesterday's games, including 2 home runs. He had a pair of them. He's got 30 on the year along with 24 stolen bases, and also notable for that Mariners lineup. Victor Robles is returned from his suspension. He had his long injury, his shoulder injury after making that great play early in the season. Came back for a few games and then had to serve a suspension because he threw a bat at Joey Estes during his rehab assignment. Well, that suspension is over. He went 1 for 4 with a double in his return. The question is, what does his role look like? Everything I've read says he's in the short side of a platoon. We'll see what happens because the Mariners have been on a skid, and if he's going to hit the ball, they may let him play more. We'll have to see what happens there, but he is back and now an option, and if you're looking for steals, he's liable to get some. He has crazy speed, so that's what I'm hoping from him down the stretch in the league that I'm in the playoffs for. Yordan Alvarez continues to just be one of the best hitters as of late. I mean, he's one of the better hitters that we have in the game right now, but he's been really on fire as of late. He hit a home run in yesterday's games along with 2 other hits. He had 3 hits, including the home run, and over his last 7, Yordan Alvarez hitting .533 with a pair of bombs. Seems like he's trying to make up for all the lost injury time all in the last few weeks of the season, because he's seeing the ball really, really well right now. Sal Stewart has his first MLB home run. He hit it in yesterday's game, and I'll tell you what, he's been playing mostly first base. He played third base in the game yesterday. He's got 12 at bats total since getting called up, hitting .250. He was absolutely tearing the cover off the ball in AA and AAA this year. And I've had a lot of long conversations with some of my prospect buddies about him. And, you know, none of us know what to expect from him at the big league level. So this is kind of fun to see. He's not striking out at any alarming rate. I mean, we're talking about 12 at bats. That's not a sample size to even dive into this, but let's do it anyway. He's not striking out at any crazy pace. Just hit his first home run. He's hitting .250. Like he's holding his own here in this little cup of coffee that he's getting at the end of the year. Going to be interesting to see how that infield picture shapes up for the Reds heading into 2026, and if Sal Stewart is going to be a part of it. That's just a question. I don't know. They have so many infielders. For the Nationals, Dalen Lyle hit a home run. That's his 4th of the season, and this comes a game after he had a pair of triples. He has been hitting the ball really well lately. On the whole for the season, he's got his 4 home runs. He's hitting .278, and over his last 30 games, this is a very sustained streak he's on. Last 30 games, he's hitting .324 with 4 steals and a pair of homers, and he's currently on a 6-game hit streak where Dalen Lyle is 11 for 23 with 3 triples and a home run. Look, we're talking about 30 games. It's 2 home runs, 4 steals. The counting stats aren't necessarily there, but if you're in an average league, I mean, he has been helping you out lately if you got him on your roster, and very interested to see how that works moving forward, if he can get more of those counting stats to be more of a fantasy relevant outfielder. But the way he's been hitting the ball lately is something to watch. Do you know who is helping you in fantasy without a doubt in anyone's mind? Nick Kurtz. I mean, my gosh, who is this guy? This is unreal what he's doing. He hit his 29th home run. He is one homer away from 30 on the year. Remember, he didn't start. He wasn't in the majors all year. He has been so good, hitting 305. And, well, I guess if you want Kurtz on your fantasy teams next year in redraft, you're going to have to pay a really, really high price for him, which I guess probably worth it if he's doing this. So, is what it is. Let's talk about some pitchers. Hunter Brown tossed 6 shutout innings and struck out 8 while walking 3. He's been so good this year. And I know the top 3 fantasy starters, it's pretty easy. It's Scooble, Skeens, and Crochet. You pick your order. I just said mine, but you pick your order of that. But Hunter Brown is not too far behind that trio. I mean, he has been so good this year, and he is doing everything you want him to do. Jacob deGrom struck out 8 over 5 1/3, allowing 3 earned runs. The big thing with him, I saw that the Rangers are going to start monitoring his innings down the stretch, which, we're talking about a few weeks here, but definitely worth keeping an eye on, especially since it's fantasy playoff season, to see what that innings monitoring is going to look like for deGrom. Justin Verlander, he turned in a good start against the Cardinals, struck out 6 over 6 shutout innings. That's 2 good outings in a row. Remember, he had his 10 strikeout outing against the Orioles last time out. So against the Orioles and Cardinals, he's looked really good. And over his last 3 starts, you want to combine those together, 17 innings, allowing 2 runs and 21 strikeouts. The veteran pitcher has looked really good over the last week or two. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he's got to be in the Cy Young talks. I'm assuming he is. Another 8 2/3 innings from him in yesterday's games. He allowed just a run while striking out 10. That gives him a 2.72 ERA on the year with 177 strikeouts in just over 155 innings. It's just been a great year. Brandon Woodruff scattered a pair of hits for the Brewers, and he threw 6 innings while striking out 8. He's had some really good outings, and he came out swinging after coming back from his injury that kept him out for 2 years. Things have slowed down a little bit. Over his last 7 games, he's got a 4.10 ERA with 45 strikeouts in 37 innings. So, again, slowed down a bit, but still turning in some good performances. And to wrap up our pitchers from yesterday, Jonah Tong. His second outing, not as good as his first. In this game yesterday, he gave up 4 runs and struck out 6 over 6 innings. He did walk 4 as well. And this is where my head was at with Jonah Tong. He didn't walk anybody in that debut outing. My concern was if he does start walking guys, what does that look like? Jonah Tong, in the long run, is a frontline starter in the making. And don't get it twisted. In the short term, when you're looking at the rest of this year, that command scares me. And it scared me when he was in the minors as well. Just, is it going to play and is it going to hurt him in the long run? This wasn't a terrible outing by any stretch of the imagination, but we did see what happens once he starts getting those walks up there. He had 4 of them in that game. We'll see what happens. I mean, he's going to get plenty of run through the end of the season. He is one of the best pitchers the Mets have at this exact moment. So we'll see what the third outing brings for Jonah Tong. With that, I'm going to take a quick timeout right now. Once I return, I got some pitching coming up in today's games that I want to mention, and that's going to be that. I appreciate you joining me once again. My name is Trevor Hooth, and this is the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. And welcome back to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. We've talked news. We've talked hitting and pitching highlights from yesterday's games. You know what that means. How about pitching for today? Let's take a look. One of my I love Parker Messick. One of my guys, like heading into the season as a prospect, I was like, we need to talk more about Parker Messick. Well, here he is. He is about to make his 4th start in the majors. He's going to be on the mound against the Rays. In the 3 outings prior, he's totaled 17 1/3 innings, 14 strikeouts, just 3 walks. The walks were kind of the question mark behind his profile. Well, one of them. But 3 walks, a 2.08 ERA. This is kind of the improved version of Joey Cantillo based on his arsenal and what he can deliver. That's kind of where it's at. So he's doing very well. It's good to see. He's going to be taking on the Rays. I think that's going to be a super interesting outing. I talked about Jonah Tong's outing. Well, speaking of Mets prospects, they have another one, a third one down this stretch run that is going to be making their MLB debut. This is the third of the 3-headed dragon that was Nolan McLean, Jonah Tong, and Brandon Sproat. Sproat is set to make his debut against Hunter Green and the Reds. In my opinion, Sproat doesn't have as high of a ceiling as McLean and Tong, but he is very interesting heading into this one. He's going to bring a fastball that can touch 97 or higher with a solid breaking ball, and he has really found his footing and been good in AAA as of late. Definitely earned this call up, and now with McLean, with Tong, with Sproat, this is a young and very interesting Mets rotation. I am just going to be upfront. I don't know how this is going to go for Brandon Sproat. Like, I am not going to come up and tell you that, oh, I think this is going to go great like I did with McLean. I don't say, oh, I have worries like I did with Tong. I think this is going to be just okay. He's going to be in Great American Ballpark. That's not the best ballpark to make your MLB debut, but he's got the stuff, and this could go very well for him. For the Nationals, Andrew Alvarez is going to be taking on the Cubs. He made his MLB debut his last time out, striking out 4 over 5 innings of scoreless ball. And we'll see what happens. That debut was against Miami. He's going against a tougher Cubs lineup this time out. So I don't think I would take the chance, but definitely worth noting considering how good he was the last time he pitched. Kind of the same thing here with Mitch Ferris for the Angels. He's going to be slated to start against the Athletics. I think this one might be a little bit more interesting. Ferris struck out 3 in 5 innings against the Royals, allowing 1 run. That was his MLB debut. Now he's got the Athletics coming up today. Still a risky play, but what gives me a little bit more hope with him, he's got a 28% strikeout rate in AAA. That means there's something more in the tank than what he showed in his MLB debut. I think of between Sproat, Alvarez, and Ferris, I think Ferris is my favorite streaming play of the day. It probably should be Sproat. The smart money says it's Sproat, but I think I prefer Ferris as your streaming play for today's games. I don't know. That's kind of just an inkling I have. And finally, the matchup of the day, Jacob Mizorowski versus Bubba Chandler. These are 2 potentially high strikeout guys, also potentially high walk guys. You just don't know what you're going to get. You're going to roll the dice on this one. But Mizorowski versus Chandler, going to be a fun one. 2 of the younger stars, well, stars in the making, hopefully, that this league has. This is going to be Chandler's first start. He's gone 4 innings across 3 different relief outings, or he pitched 4 innings in 3 different relief outings, totaling 12 innings. Got a 2.25 ERA with 9 strikeouts. Even picked up a save in one of those. He could strike a lot of guys out. He's got a wonderful fastball, and we know Jacob Mizorowski's got all of his nasty stuff. He hasn't been that dominant guy as of late that he was when he first came up. I guess he did have a 10 strikeout outing about a week ago, but point stands that he hasn't been as good as he was when he first came up. I don't know. This is either going to be good for the pitchers or the hitters. That's what I got for you. Mizorowski versus Chandler. That's the game of the day. I appreciate you listening. Make sure to check out pitcherlist.com for the top 100 lists. That's pitchers, hitters, relievers, done, of course, by Nick, Scott, and Rick, respectively. There's also great written content coming out all the time by people much smarter than me. Don't you worry about it. Much smarter than me. But with that, I will see you guys next week. This has been another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List.